Imagine sitting on a porch saying bye to your dad and counting down the hours next time we're going to see him again. Family Means states in 2017, when parents divorce, effects are different on children, depending on whether their parents, you still see your parents or how it happened. Some are natural and understands what's going on. Some kids struggle or can be affected depending on when and why. Effects happen right away or later on in life, but normally children can overcome those effects of divorce. Emory states in 2000 that divorce is always stressful, and normally kids obviously don't want their parents to get divorced. It can also cause behavioral problems later on. Kids have a hard time during transition. Depends on how long the transition happens or how it happens. Some transitions can be rough, some can be okay. It also can depend on your age. If you're younger, you may not remember how it happened, when it happened, or why, but if you're older, it could affect you harder. Parents who do a good job managing stress help the kids adjust quicker and at smoother rates. Divorce has a greater increased risk that kids will suffer from psychological and behavioral problems such as anger, disobedience, rule violation. They can become depressed or even over-responsible, meaning that they can care for their parents more than their parents could even care for them because their parents may be more upset than the kids are. She also states that a great majority don't have problems. Most kids with divorced parents are resilient, especially when parents do a good job managing stress from it. They still report painful memories and worries about divorce, or they can worry about their relationship with their parents. Some kids have different effects even later on in life. At first they have effects, but later on in life they could have trust issues or be scared to commit to a relationship. Later on in life, years after the divorce, children may have some effects. Silverman states in 2012 that people who suffer stresses such as divorce are at greater risk of social and psychological problems later as adults. John Gumbner, PhD, said in 2011 that divorce has long-term consequences for grown kids. First, with their relationships, kids are more likely to get a divorce if their parents are divorced. They can also be scared of trusting others, or they could be even scared that they will get a divorce because their parents got a divorce. It's harder for them to trust others because they are scared of that they might not commit as hard, just like what happened with their parents. O'Connell says in 1997 that the way kids react later in life depend on 3 factors. 1, the quality of the relationship with each parent before the divorce. 2, the intensity and duration of the parent conflict. And 3, parents focus on the kids' needs in the divorce, meaning that their relationship with their parents might suffer, causing them to have behavioral problems. As children continue, the involvement with both his or her parents allows for better balanced future relationships. So if they're still fine with their parents, they're still fine later on in life, more likely. Another important factor is making sure the other parents don't cause conflict on relationships. So meaning it might be bad if another parent's jealous of their kid's relationship with the other parent. So that could cause conflict on the whole situation. It can cause trust and insecurity. They might be insecure of their relationships later on in life and be nervous. Although few negative effects happen, kids can overcome and be strong. Divorce can be positive and you can become closer to your parents and learn. Like true love. You can learn what that is and learn from their mistakes. WebMD states that Isolina Rica, PhD, says when kids are free to love both parents without conflict of loyalty, to have access to both without fear of losing each other, they can get on with their business of growing up. Although it's hard, kids normally grow and learn from the situations and still continue to have a good life. As said before, we talked about the effects of kids when their parents get a divorce later on in life, or how they overcome or not have any effects at all. So imagine after years sitting on the porch waiting for your dad, you learned to love and accept the life you live. Now I'm going to ask a few questions. Do you guys know anyone who has a divorce, who's had a divorce?
I do.
Oh, you do? How do they feel from that? Are they affected by it, do you think, or?
Yeah, I think they're happier that way.
That's another good example. Some kids might even be happier. Maybe they didn't have the best relationship. Do you have something else to say?
No.
Okay. Does anyone have questions for me?
Does it make a difference of the age of the child when their parents get a divorce?
Good question. I think so, because like I said before in the speech, that if you're younger, you may not know or have any idea of what it was like when your parents were divorced. Some kids' parents get a divorce and then when they're born or just young, and then they get remarried and they're happier that way, and sometimes it's that way. Or if they're older, it might be worse for them because they're used to it, having both their parents together. Does anyone else have any questions?
Does it make a difference if there's more than one child from the marriage?
Also a
instead
good
of
question.
one single child?
It might help to have siblings with them to help them overcome what the situation is. Or it might be worse. All right, is that all? Sweet.